The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. It's time for Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. We'll talk all things Hokie wrestling with Coach Tony Robie and staff. Now, let's join your host, Hall of Fame wrestling writer and broadcaster, Jason Bryant.
Episode 62 of Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling, talking with head wrestling coach Tony Robie today about a big duel coming up on Friday, 7:30 Reynolds Coliseum, Raleigh, North Carolina. The number 6, 14-1 NC State Wolfpack, the number 8, 14-2 Virginia Tech Hokies. We'll talk about that match today. I'm your host, Jason Bryant. But before we get rolling, Coach Robie, busy time in the state of Virginia when it comes to wrestling, and we have 7 state championships going on simultaneously across, 5, 6 different cities. It really makes it difficult as a college coach to recruit the talent in state when you've got such a disjointed high school system.
Yeah, no question. It's very difficult to keep up with and keep track of just exactly what's going on and the results and who's wrestling where and what time, and not to mention the fact that it just really waters the competition down, significantly, and makes it tougher from an evaluation standpoint as a college wrestling coach as well, just because it's tough to know, which guys are really able to wrestle at Division I level, and it just makes it challenging, and there's no doubt. I mean, when you look at a lot of states, Pennsylvania, where I'm from, for instance, which is widely regarded as, probably the best high school wrestling state, there's 2 divisions that's in the same building. The sessions are at different times, but from a recruiting standpoint, it makes it really easy. You go to one location, you can kind of sit down in a seat and watch wrestling for 10 hours out of the day and really hunker down and evaluate kids, and it helps you catch on to kids. So, yeah, I think it's not only is it difficult for fans and parents, but I think it's a little bit of a disservice to the kids as well that maybe want to wrestle at the next level and want to catch the eye of some college coaches, because it's tough to keep track of for sure.
And while, it's not the VHSL's, responsibility to put kids into college in terms of athletics, they do provide that as an activity with their high school teams. But let's look at this just on the surface. From try to take a rational viewpoint of this. Okay, 5A and 6A, the first day, they're in 2 separate places. One's at Kellum in Virginia Beach, the other's at Oscar Smith. Then they come together at Oscar Smith. So you've got your schools, I think, in 6A, I think it's what it is. I think Brian Hazard's schools, he coaches at Robinson, has got to go to Kellum the first day, then to Oscar Smith to come together. Again, high school gym. That's a pretty big high school gym. It was actually a pretty cool place to have it when they were just the AAA there. Then you go to Churchland High School, the 4A and the 3A. 8 mats down, one side of the bleachers are out. I tweeted a picture of this on Thursday night, Friday morning, talking about there's 448 athletes there and 91 teams and one set of bleachers pulled out. So you've got a bunch of the teams from the southwest portion of the state, a lot of 3A schools from out west coming, 5 hours to a high school gym again in Churchland, and then the western part of the state in Salem with the dump that is the Salem Civic Center, even though it's got its charm to some people, 1A, 2A, and just it from a wrestling standpoint, it's illogical to try to cover all of these balanced, and from a media standpoint, how does a newspaper cover this? How do those kids get those coverage? And in turn, if it wasn't for events like the Beast of the East and Fargo, things that aren't around the Virginia High School League, guys like John Borst, Stan Smeltzer, and BC LaPrade, for example, they may not be Hokies if they didn't go out and do that stuff on their own, because the State High School League certainly isn't providing a level to say, hey, these kids can wrestle.
No, I think back when BC and those guys that you mentioned wrestled, that there was only 3 divisions. I think it was last year, right? It started the 6 divisions, but it doesn't make sense. There's no question. I mean, we can talk about it until we're blue in the face. It needs to change. I think that if you talk to anybody within the state of Virginia who is a wrestling fan, who has a history with wrestling in the state of Virginia, I think everybody's in favor of it going back to the system they had previously with the 3 divisions and it just made a lot more sense. And I don't know what we need to do or how we need to make those changes, but I'm on board and agree with everything that you said. And I saw your tweet yesterday with the number of kids that have losing records that are participating in the state tournament. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's at one point, you get more kids involved, but at the same point, there's still a level of accomplishment that you have to qualify. You have to earn a spot, a state championship. I always make the joke that I only wrestled for 2 years in high school. Yet, if under this current system, I probably could have been a 4-time place winner, depending on what school I went to, having only wrestled 2 years. It's that illogical. And okay, maybe that's a little bit of a hyperbole, but it just goes to say that you could be under 500, be a not very good high school wrestler. And, what used to be a reward for a job well done is now kind of just, okay. Like 100 wins used to mean something. Now it's like if you're 100 wins in high school, unless you're in New Jersey, you were fairly average. But now moving on, we can talk, as you said, we can talk about this high school thing until we're blue in the face, and we'll let the fans talk about that and try to pressure our ADs and principals to say, hey, this needs to change. But shifting gears, the 22-18 win, an ugly kind of win, so to speak, over Virginia last week. A couple guys in the out of the lineup, and a scrappy win here and there. But overall, the performance against Virginia, how would you grade that on an A, B, C, D, F scale?
I think when you just look at the scoreboard, obviously it was much closer than anticipated. But I thought we had a lot of good things happen, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we went in there and we ended up having to forfeit 141. We had backups in at 25 and 33. So we definitely had a lot of things working against us. So I think when I evaluate the match and I kind of step back from it, the emotion of it, and look at how things transpired, Ryan Blease had another really good come from behind win. He was losing to Krivas, I think it was 5-1, and Krivas had riding time with about 1:30 left in the third period. He was able to come back, and that guy's a really good, talented wrestler. Was I believe, a 2 or 3-time Pennsylvania state champion. So is by no means a slouch. He did a great job coming back and scoring 2 takedowns late, and then scoring a takedown in overtime to secure the win, along with Hunter Boland, who had another good win and is wrestling really well at this particular time. Came back and won a match in the third period. And like I said, there was a lot of adversity. We had a lot of illness. That week, the flu was going through our team, so even the guys that were out there were affected a little bit. And Jared Hott was able to get a pin, and Zach Zavadsky a major decision. So, I think there was a lot of good things that happened as well. And, I guess the one thing that I think we learned from that is if you're not a regular starter, you've got to be ready to go, just because you don't know when your opportunity is going to present itself or what's going to happen. And, you've got to make sure that your weight's in a good place, and that when that opportunity does present itself, that, you take advantage of it and you go out there and you represent yourself well. And, that's an area where I don't feel like we did a great job. So, but we're healthy now and feeling good and excited about our opportunity at NC State this weekend.
And no matter what the sport, it's always good to get a win over Virginia, right?
No question. Yeah, and it was that was kind of my thought process, to be quite honest with you. And we had to make a decision at 141. Brent Moore got sick, and we weighed in Caden Darber, who could have won it. We could have sent out there to wrestle. He's in red shirt, but we just felt like we could still win the dual meet, and even giving up the 6 points. And I just hate to pull a kid's red shirt for one match for the season. So we made a decision to do that. And when we made that decision, we knew that the scoreboard was going to be close and it was going to be tight, and there was a chance that we could lose the match. So it worked out well, I guess, in terms of us getting the W.
Now shifting gears to NC State, this is a big one. I mean, and you talk about two programs that have risen. I mean, I want to say ashes, because they've got to be burned down first for them to rise from the ashes. But basically to build from a foundation of moderate tradition to one that's teams have been back and forth in the top 10, top 5 for the last half decade. Pat Popolizio's teams always have a definite style. They're coming hungry. They're coming ready. 14-1 in their place. They're coming off a big crowd against North Carolina. They've got a lot of momentum. First of all, overall, mindset of the team and the coaching staff heading in to Raleigh on Friday night?
We're excited. I think that's the biggest thing is we're excited about the opportunity. We feel like we put ourselves in a position, for this opportunity and to win another ACC championship. And we feel like, on a national scale, nobody's really talking about Virginia Tech. And I think our guys have a chip on their shoulder to a certain degree. And we've got a lot of respect for their program and where they're at. But, we feel like, we've got a great opportunity here. And I think if we wrestle well, good things are going to happen. So I think if I had to sum it up with one word, I would just say very, very excited about, this opportunity we have in Raleigh and just to get out there and wrestle in one more dual meet before the postseason starts.
Yeah, and looking at, we'll dial this down as far as at the micro level here in a minute, but when you look at NC State, actually, their SID Brian Reinhardt put out some pretty solid notes about this one that I'm going to refer to here real quick. Not to say that Peter Long isn't doing a tremendous job there for Virginia Tech as well, but of the two teams here, they're number 2 and number 3 in the country in win percentage, behind undefeated Penn State and Missouri, so technically 3 and 4. And then NC State's won 50 of its last 54 duels. During that span, they're 0-2 against the Hokies, so you've kind of had their number a little bit. But matchups on paper, this one's going to be, let's going down the line. Matches aren't won on paper, but right off the bat, you've got a very large, experienced junior in Sean Faust, ranked 5th in the country from NC State, and Kyle Nordstrom going to get the go, or are we still working on recovery there?
No, Kyle Nordstrom's going to wrestle. He's back. He's healthy. So, but yeah, on paper, Faust has put together a nice year for himself and is obviously a big favorite at that weight class. So Kyle's got to come out and, he's going to do a good job for us. And, it's going to be a challenge for him for sure to come back, his first match back since the injury. And he's got his work cut out for him. But, Kyle's a very formidable guy. He's capable of a lot. And, it's going to be big in a lot of places that our guys, even if matches, if we're not favored and if we don't come on top, the guys can stay in there and battle and fight. And that's what we're looking for. And, I like Kyle's chances.
One thing that you'll notice a theme with Pat Popoluzio's wrestlers at NC State is many of them, save Michael Boykin at heavyweight, are lanky, long, they got that wiry strength to them, and they all kind of wrestle a very similar style that Pat wrestles and coaches very well. And so you're going to see that type of matchup that creates a lot of problems with the guys with length like Faust. And then Tariq Wilson, a redshirt freshman, ranked 12th in the country at 133. Dennis Gustafson, who again missed the Virginia bout, senior ranked 19th in the country. This one, looking at it, I got to say this is a toss-up. Wilson's been wrestling well of late, but what's Gus got to do to win this one?
This is a must-win match for us. There's no doubt. I think they wrestled last year in an open tournament, and Dennis came out on top. But, Wilson's a guy that's like distance from you and is going to try to wrestle from the outside. And I think Dennis has got to go and try to get his hands on him and get to him early. And I think if we can get on top of him, that's a position where I feel pretty comfortable. Dennis has won a lot of matches from the top position this year, whether riding guys or turning guys or whatever it's taken there. And the same with Wilson. He's awesome in the top position. He's going to be trying to hold Dennis down. So I think the guy that can win that battle on in the neutral position is probably going to be in pretty good shape. And for Dennis, it's a matter of going out and wrestling hard for 7 minutes and staying after it and staying in his face and hopefully, keeping himself in a good position. And I feel like if we're in a good position in the third period, I feel good about what Dennis is capable of doing. So, Dennis, I think, is in a good place. He's been in a good place all year. He understands the urgency. He's got 3 more opportunities to compete for Virginia Tech, and this is one of them. So, definitely a must-win match for us. I think, it'll be a fun match to watch for sure.
Do you think the fact that everybody knows how good he is on top has kind of been maybe a detriment at some point throughout the course of the season, where everybody knows where it's going? They know exactly what he's going to do, and they've kind of fashioned their game plan to make sure that they stay out of it and try to take the match to the feet.
I think that that's part of the game in college wrestling is there's a lot of scouting that goes on, and the more success that you have, the more guys can catch on to what you're good at and try to stay away from it. So you have to win in spite of that. And when you're really good in a certain position, or you're really good at certain attacks, you typically just go out there and get them anyway. And that's what really separates guys is when your opponent knows what you're going to do and you can still go out and do it anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult, but it's just part of the deal. I mean, we know what their guys have done. All our coaches and athletes watch film on them as well, so we're kind of in the same boat.
141 pounds. This is one. Brent Moore, tall order, is going to have a buzzsaw. His name's Kevin Jack, a two-time All-American, ranked number 2 in the country. Wiry, lanky, likes to put up bonus points. Tough matchup here. What's the match strategy for Brent Moore? Not just to try to mitigate the bonus points or mitigate the closeness of the loss, to put himself in a position to win this match.
Yeah, well, we've got to stay off bottom, and that's the bottom line. Jack is one of the best in the country from the top position. So if we can keep this match on our feet and get on top and ride, and Brent's been pretty successful at that this year, that's got to be our game plan. But if we get a takedown early and we get underneath them, it's going to make it a lot more challenging. So, in my opinion, that's kind of where we need to stay away from to put ourselves in position to win. But and again, this is definitely a match where they're a heavy favorite. There's no question.
149 pounds. This is one. Ryan Blease, since moving down to 149 pounds, is 14-1 at the weight class. I think that's one thing that people have kind of missed. They're talking about, okay, he's wrestling well. Yeah, 14-1 since moving down to 149. Actually, almost close to hitting some of those RPI numbers that you need for the postseason. Going to be wrestling Bo Donahue, a Virginia native. He's from Northern Virginia, ranked anywhere from 13th to 19th in the country, and showing the depth of NC State's program. He's been fighting for that spot for a number of years, back and forth. This guy, I've noticed, wrestles very well against colleges from his home state of Virginia, maybe with a chip on his shoulder there. But Ryan Blease, you talked about him coming from behind, winning a tight match there. You got to be a favorite on paper here, but Bo Donahue doesn't give up a lot of points, and he's tough to score on, which actually is kind of saying the same thing. But in tightness, what's Ryan Blease got to do here in his case to get the victory for the Hokies?
Well, I think again, this is a must-win match for us. There's no doubt. He's got to get his offense going. Donahue's he's not a super offensive guy. He's not gonna shoot a lot. He's got good hips. He looks to counterattack. He looks to score off of your shot. So for us, I think Ryan's got to go out and wear on him and get his hands on him and move him around and get him to react. And even if we're not scoring early, I think all of that is cumulative. And if we can keep this guy reacting, keep pressure on him, I think that will bode well for us in the third period. And that's where Ryan's at his best. Late in matches, his gas tank is unbelievable. And if we're in a position late in the match where it's close, I like our chances.
Speaking of your point there, he's got 3 sudden victories in his last 7 bouts. So there's that gas tank, that late match heroics. Although sometimes you play with fire, you get burned. So the key is to win that match before you go into overtime, right, Coach?
We'll win it any way we can. So, I like the guy. Well, I'll say this much: I like the guy we're putting out there, and I like what he's all about. I like his toughness, and he's really come through for Virginia Tech this year. He's been a big part of our success.
Now, 157 question marks, I guess, from some fans. Solomon Shishko, BC LaPrade. So what's LaPrade's status? What's the situation with who's going to get the spot? Who are we going to see on Friday night?
You'll see Solomon Shishko. BC is still rehabbing, working his way back, and we'll have an opportunity, hopefully, to figure out who's going to be the guy at the ACC championships. I mean, his health, hopefully won't play into that at that particular point. So you'll definitely see Shishko on Friday, and he's got his work cut out for him. He's got one of the best young guys in the country at any weight class, in Hayden Hidlay. We recruited him. I know how good he is, and Solomon's got to step up. He's definitely hasn't wrestled well, to say the least. I think everybody knows that. Solomon knows that. We've discussed that, and he's been working to get himself out of the funk, but he's got a huge task in front of him, and he's definitely going to have to step up to the plate and I guess man up, so to speak, for the team and for the program and for himself.
Yeah, as 0-2 so far at 157. From your mindset on what you've seen of him going up in the weight, does that seem like that's been a load off of him a little bit? Say, okay, I don't have to spend so much time cutting weight. I can actually concentrate on wrestling.
Yeah, I think so. And that's part of the reason we did it. I just it became completely about the weight, and he wasn't focused on getting better. He wasn't focused on training. Monday, Tuesday, it was all about what the scale read. So that, and the combination of how well Ryan Blease was wrestling 149, and then ultimately it was Solomon's decision to stay at 157. We'd given him the opportunity to progress back down to 49, but he made the decision to stay up. And it's now a matter of the weight isn't an excuse, and it can't be part of the reason that you're not having success. So. Again, as for him, it's about just going out and getting in the right mindset. And I think if we can get him in the right mindset, I think we can see the old Solomon Chisco. So, like I said, I know he's working hard at it. He had a really good week of practice. So, I guess we'll see.
165 pounds. This is one where you haven't taken a loss all year. 28-0 with David McFadden, ranked number 4 in the country by Flow Wrestling, and higher by some other outlets. Half of those wins, so that's 14 for you math majors out there, have been by bonus points, although through the meat of the dual meet schedule, McFadden's been more workmanlike, picking up the win, getting a lot of 6-7 point spreads here. But bonus points in a match like this are important for the duel. So win the match first, but what do you and Coach Molinaro, Coach Freyer, and Coach Wall say to get in his ear to say, all right, when there's blood in the water, sharks are circling, go get that bonus point if you can?
Well, I think as far as David's concerned tonight, he's got to go out there with the mindset that he's just going to continue to attack and try to score points and build his lead and improve his position all the time. And when you do that, I think the major decisions, the tech falls, the pins kind of fall into place. So, it's less about thinking about going out and scoring bonus points and more about your approach to staying on the attack. So, but it's definitely a place that I think that as a coach, when you look at the lineup and you look at the breakdown of the match, it's the place that we feel like we can possibly score a couple bonus points.
When you've got an undefeated athlete here, and at this weight class, which you've seen Isaiah Martinez in there, it's seen Vincenzo Joseph just take a loss. You've seen an undefeated freshman like Alex Marinelli. You haven't run into those guys yet. And when we get through the Big Ten, the meat of the season, and then say things are well for McFadden comes through unscathed, you've got an undefeated guy who hasn't hit any of those big guys. How do you keep him focused on improving and being and preparing for a match that he hasn't had a feel of those guys? I mean, right now the match in front of you is the most important, but there's the long play at the end of the season where there's going to be a time he's going to hit somebody that's ranked higher than him, that's got the credentials, and he hasn't had that feel before. So how do you keep him intent on improving when he's just been beating the heck out of everybody all year?
Well, your focus, I think, is just got to be on yourself. And we can't worry about who's at the weight class, who's beating who, where you're ranked or where this other guy's ranked or who you might wrestle, in the quarterfinals or the semifinals. I guess first and foremost, when you get to the NCAA tournament, you don't have to beat every guy in the bracket. You just have to beat the next guy in front of you. So, David's focus has got to continue to be on making sure that he's doing everything right that he can control. And that's inside the wrestling room, outside the wrestling room, and just continue to focus internally on himself and improving and just figuring out the areas that we need to get a little bit better in before the NCAA tournament. And he's got, fortunately for David, he's in a position in our wrestling room where he's got a lot of great guys to work out with Coach Freyer and Coach Molinaro and Makai Lewis and Zach Zavatsky and Hunter Boland. So he gets pushed on a daily basis in the wrestling room, and I think that's going to help him be ready for Cleveland.
At the beginning of the year, you were kind of looking to see that Hunter Boland, a true freshman, would be kind of the underdog in a lot of situations, but he has come on of late, won his last 8 matches in a row. It looks like he's 13-3 in his last 16 bouts since coming off the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational. Gritty win coming from behind against UVA, against a ranked guy. And what's been the difference? I mean, the last 8 matches, it's clicked for him. He's got some bonus points. He's beat some ranked guys. He's beaten an All-American. What is the key here why Hunter Boland's been successful?
Well, I think, Hunter kind of started to struggle right around the Virginia duels, and I don't think that's uncommon for freshmen. I think a lot of freshmen, especially true freshmen, when they get their opportunity, and he started the year off pretty strong, and you're just not used to a college wrestling season. So, we kind of gave him a little bit of a break in there and sat him for a couple matches, and To be quite honest with you, I think that was really good for Hunter to maybe take a little break and just, I guess refocus as much as anything, and just feel like he had a little bit of competition for the spot too, with Cody Hughes in there, and he went down to the App State Open and wrestled and just killed everybody down there. And I think it was a matter of just getting his confidence back. He's been working a lot with Coach Frayer. They've got somewhat similar styles in terms of just being really good on top, and I think Coach Frayer's done an excellent job helping him develop his top game and some of his defense, and just scoring with some of the techniques and tricks that Coach Frayer has, and it's made a difference in his wrestling. So I think confidence, as much as anything, is really helped Hunter, kind of improve throughout the course of this year. So yeah, he's wrestling well. We're excited about him. This again is a must-win match for us here. He's got another guy that's got a really, really funky style, so these guys could be rolling all over the place. So I anticipate a lot of points being scored tonight at 174.
184. This one you've probably got circled as a must-win, probably one of the two highlight matches of the duel if you're looking at just the rankings. Pete Renda from NC State, ranked third in the country, returning All-American, and Zach Zavatsky, who is on a nice little win streak, 12 in a row. 11 of those are bonus victories. And how do you prepare, man? Because this is one that's got if this is a Big Ten bout, for example, you've got TV talking all about Renda Zavatsky. This is an ACC match where we're going to have it on ESPN3. You're going to have the East Coast fans, North Carolina, Virginia fans talking about that. This match has national implications, and it's one of the biggest ones in the dual meet. So what's the coaching staff's thought here with Zach Zavatsky, Pete Renda?
These guys are really familiar with each other. They wrestled, Renda redshirted last year, so we didn't see him. But 2 years ago, Zach's freshman year, they wrestled in the dual meet and in the ACC finals, and again in the quarterfinals of the NCAAs. And Zach won two of those three matches. So I think from a confidence standpoint, Zach knows that he can beat this guy. Renda's really good in a couple positions, and you gotta stay away from him. He's got a really nice post high crotch, a big strong guy with heavy hips, and he'll throw a leg in on top and try to ride you all day, and it turns a lot of guys. So we have to stay. I think we need to win this match on our feet personally, or in the top position. If Renda gets on top and gets that leg in, he's pretty darn good with it. So, like I said, these guys, and likewise with Renda knowing Zavatsky that well, they know exactly what they're going to try to do. So they're very familiar with each other, and we got to go out and score a takedown. And I think that if we can score a takedown early, I feel good about where we're at. So a lot of his attacks are counterattacks, and if we can get him coming at us, that's where Zach's pretty good as well.
And this is one that can set the stage too in terms of its quality. It's a potential ACC final. It's got that potential to be an NCAA quarter or an NCAA semifinal at this weight class. So how much importance is on this match, knowing that you've probably got one, maybe two more shots at seeing Renda down the line?
Yeah, it's obviously huge. I mean, it's got huge implications on the outcome of the dual meet. So, that it's got huge implications in terms of seeding at the ACC tournament, seeding potentially at the national tournament. These guys seeing each other again down the line here very, very soon. I think they're both, going to be, one will be seeded 1 and one will be seeded 2 at the ACC tournament. So, anytime that you're going to wrestle somebody that that you're going to see down the road here again soon, I mean, it's always important. So I think for Zach, he's got to go out and wrestle his match and just, maintain really good focus. And, I think if he can do that, I think we're in good shape. I mean, Zach Zavatsky's a really good wrestler. He's good in every position. He's got great attacks. He's been wrestling really well this last half of the season. So I feel good about where he's at and, him heading into tonight's match.
197 rankings, pretty good one as well. Jared Haught ranked as high as number 2 in the country, and Michael Macchiavello ranked as high as 7 in some spots. Kind of overshadowed by Renda and Zavatsky, but you got two bruisers here, two guys that are just gonna. I mean, this is put some 8-ounce gloves on these guys. This will be a battle if these two faced off in any sport. So knockdown drag out here with Macchiavello and Haught.
Yeah, no question. Very similar styles, both big, strong guys. Both of these guys are really tough to score, and I don't anticipate it being a a real high scoring match tonight. But we feel good about Jared Hott anytime he steps out on the mat. I mean, he had an unbelievable week in practice this week. Just looked phenomenal. And again, he's a senior. I think the most important thing with Jared is he's having a lot of fun with wrestling right now. And he's not, he's going out there and wrestling without any pressure on him. He's just going out there and having fun and trying to let it rip and cut things loose and get to his offense. And I think if he does that, I feel good about the matchup tonight. Like I said, these guys are very similar, but Jared's got a lot of offense. And then when he cuts it loose, he's capable of going out there and scoring 3 or 4 takedowns on just about anybody in the country.
And at heavyweight, the NC State's got a couple different options, but Michael Boykin has seen the ranking, at least on the Flow Wrestling side of things. Malik McDonald's also a body there that you could see, but Andrew Dunn has been in and out of the rankings the last several weeks. This one's it could come down to heavyweight depending on which weight class you start at. And his progress again, first full year in the lineup, coming down the line, last dual meet of the year. How's he held up and held up to the expectations that the program's put on him?
Well, he had a tough little stretch here up until UVA where he wrestled a bunch of ranked guys and lost a bunch of close matches. And it's part of being a freshman. Andrew and Boykin did wrestle earlier this season at the Journeyman Round Robin up in Albany, New York, and we won a really close bout in overtime, which really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. That was a long time ago, and Boykin's wrestling really well right now. But again, I think if I had to categorize this match, this is a must-win match for us as well. So, Andrew's a really tough guy to score on. He's savvy. He can figure out how to win matches. He's got a belief in himself. I know that he feels good about the matchup, and he knows what's at stake. I mean, I think he knows that how important his match is to the outcome of this dual meet, and he embraces that. And that's what I like about Andrew is that's not something that he shies away from. He wants the match to come down to him. He wants to be the guy that steps out there if the score's tied going into the heavyweight match. So, but it'll be exciting for sure. Boykin's wrestling well. There's no doubt he's a really athletic guy. He's an explosive guy. So you've got to try to close the gap on him. If you try to wrestle him from the outside, he's got some really nice, double leg, high-level double legs, high-level back under stuff that he does that Andrew's going to have to stay away from, and Andrew's aware of. So, this could very well be a one takedown match like a lot of heavyweight matches. So, but again, it's going to be, when you go up and down the lineup and you look at it, there's a lot of matches that are going to be really tight. It's going to be a great dual meet for fans to watch. It's going to be exciting. And, I think it's just going to come down to who can win those critical situations and win those tight matches. And, I think we've done a pretty good job of figuring out ways to win for most of the year here. So, we're excited about the opportunity. We know what's at stake here. Anytime you have a chance to win an ACC title or an ACC championship, it's a big, big deal at Virginia Tech. So, we know what's at stake, and I think we're prepared and we're ready to go.
Ideal starting weight. You guys going to draw, or are you going to say start at 25?
We would start at 25. I think they've pretty much drawn the whole year, so I would anticipate that they're going to want to draw. So as far as I'm not going to draw. Whenever I draw, it doesn't work out well for us. We actually did choose to draw against UVA just because we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do at 141, and we're hoping we would have some time to make that decision. And I drew it, and I drew 141. So I'm going to have Coach Frayer draw the stick. Coach Monero draw the stick. I'm not very good at drawing.
Yeah, because looking at it from a Virginia Tech angle, you probably want to start at 25, knowing that Faust coming off the scale of 1 hour is going to be still in that recovery mode, and that's probably your, a real good chance to kind of pick that one off. And speaking of weight, I want to throw this out there because Andrew Dunn's dad has been posting on Facebook quite a bit on his battle for weight loss, and I just want to give a shout out to him. He's a regular listener of the program. I've been a fan of the Mad Talk Podcast Network. I believe he said he's lost 160 pounds. So big props to Mr. Dunn for that milestone there. So that's always a good story to hear about.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, to be honest with you. I think him and Andrew, his name's Andrew as well, they've kind of fed off each other and fed off each other's success. And it's been a real positive experience for Andrew the last year down here at Virginia Tech. And it's pretty cool to watch and be a part of that. And he's a great guy and always enjoy hearing him out in the stands when we're wrestling. So, yeah, kudos to him. That's a big deal. pretty awesome.
7:30 Friday, Reynolds Coliseum. If you're not traversing between the 7 high school state tournaments in Virginia across the state, head on down to Raleigh. They put on a good show at Reynolds, but you probably want to drown out all that red if you're a Hokie fan. And of course, if you're interested in what the enemy has to say about that, also on this network, the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, so you can hear what NC State is planning to hear about the Hokies, as you've just heard about what the Hokies are planning for NC State. Coach Robie, travel safe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jason.
Hokie fans, listen to Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling anywhere you go by subscribing on Apple Podcasts. Go to InsideVirginiaTechWrestling.com/iTunes, or you can get the exclusive Android or iOS apps by going to InsideVirginiaTechWrestling.com.
Show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.